is presented by Benjamina Mia Casino. Licensed real estate professional since 2008. License number S01669991 LLC. It's a lunch hour in Vegas, and we're on the dot with Dot and Mia here on PHLV Radio.
Hi, it's a Wednesday right here on PHLV Radio, and welcome to On the Dot. Unfortunately, my partner Mia is not here right now. Fortunately, she's enjoying herself somewhere with the sea and the sand and the sun, and she's safe. I believe that. So Mia, if you're listening to this recording later on, and just know that I miss you. Life is not the same without you, darling. You're my partner. Okay, so to move on, I will introduce our guest kasi that's Mia's partner. But fortunately, we have her bio here. All right. Here she is. She's Therese Heilman. She's a safety engineer for more than 2 decades. By the way, she's been here before and she won. She's one of our finalists for the HIMIG contest, the songwriting contest. She's an authorized instructor of the U.S. Department of Labor, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, and the Mining Safety and Health Administration, or MSHA. OSHA, MSHA. She conducts training classes for the general industry, construction, maritime, and mining industries. She provides facilities for compliance, inspections, and audits. Uy, bongga! She designs and writes and implements safety programs and protocols for all industries. She provides assistance to different companies for annual workers' compensation, audits, and assists clients on how to get the best workers' compensation insurance premiums. You need to listen to this. She's a holder of a master's degree in safety administration, and Therese is also a licensed workers' compensation program professional. And here she is. Give her a round of applause. Hi, Therese.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Nice to be back.
To the studio.
Yeah, and pretty much, I think if I remember it right, the past 2 guestings, I was with you guys here. It's actually not the topic that was my expertise, although it was kind of like similar to it. You know, it has a correlation to it. But today I'm so happy that this is really the topic where I can discuss it with you 24 hours a day.
Oh, 24 hours.
Yes,
so we are staying here until tomorrow, correct? And this is very apt because our topic, our theme for the month is still health is wealth.
Health
and
is wealth.
Safety is part of health, of course. Yes.
Yes.
So before that, Ms. Therese, I want to acknowledge what you talked about in the past. You know, that you and Norman, your husband, you talked about the convention. What was that?
The SEMA.
What was that again?
The SEMA show every year.
Oh, yeah, the SEMA
and they're coming
show.
out again in October. So,
Okay.
Oh, November, I mean.
Would you kindly explain what SEMA is?
Well, SEMA is a show for, it's the aftermarket show, the cars. It's the future of the cars. Like, there's so many different cars, like from the olden times, and they make it into something really, very elegant and all those things. And that's where you see the trend
and
of
it's
the
coming up
car industry.
again.
The cars, the trucks, and all those things. So it's really a very, very good show to watch. However, it's very limited to those that are members, and mind you, membership is not that easy to get.
Okay.
you have to be part of the industry itself. It's one of the biggest shows in Las Vegas.
Oh, yes, yes. So then, the next time around when you were here, you talked about your granddaughter for whom you dedicated a song. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, yes.
Can you
yes.
still sing that song? No, maybe. Do you still memorize that song?
I do. I do sing it in my mind, you know. And I have one of my friends, Noemi Aragon.
Yes.
We were having a small get together, and she sang that song for me.
Oh,
So it was
that's so
very nice. I
nice.
watch it over and over.
All right. Awesome, awesome. So I hope you're still writing songs. And I know aside from songs, you also wrote that book that you're holding right now.
Yes.
So
I've been
go ahead.
I've been writing books on basically on safety
Okay.
because you know that's where my expertise is, and it's my passion.
Okay, let's begin
Yeah.
with what do you really want to tell our audience right now?
First of all, your topic, health is wealth, and it's very true. I don't think anybody can deny the fact that you may have all the money in the world and you're sick and the doctor tells you, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. What is the money going to do to you?
True, true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas if you are healthy, you may not be rich, you may just be, you know, living on a day-to-day basis, paycheck to paycheck, but at least you're healthy. That's why I always tell people, life is only an inhale and an exhale.
Oh,
You lose one of it, it's the end. So money is not really
it's not
everything that matters.
Yes.
No, health.
Money is a tool for
Money is a tool for you to be
Yes.
able to access
True.
some comforts in life. But of course, before that, you know, the basic necessities in life. But to be all worried about money all the time is money, everything is about money, is not worth it, because actually, to be thinking about money all the time put a lot of stress on you. And when you get so stressed, you get sick.
Then, if you're focused on money, your show should be entitled "Wealth is Wealth."
Yes.
Wealth is
Wealth
health.
is wealth.
Wealth is just wealth, you know. But for us, is health is really wealth.
Yes.
And so you're focusing your book right now. I'm so impressed that you brought your handbook. Is that a manual for safety?
It is actually a emergency disaster plan, which, like I said, okay, my area of safety, my knowledge of safety is on occupational safety.
Okay.
So it's workplace safety. Although a lot of it, if you think about it, a lot of the safe practices that you do at work are the same basic safe practices you should do at home. And I always tell this in all my classes. Do we follow rules, safety rules and regulations because the boss is watching us? You know? But you can actually just, the simple use of a ladder.
Yes.
Okay. We use ladder at home too.
Yes, we do.
But what do we use all the time? You use a chair. Use a chair.
You use a chair to reach the higher
to reach
places.
the higher, which is not really safe because the
Right.
chairs will wobble and all those things.
right.
And even on the use of ladders at home, you have to look at the rated capacity of the ladder.
Oh, ganon.
Yeah. We do have a lot of these step stools that we buy from, you know, all the stores at $10, $20, whatever. It is handy for just a few seconds of use. Ladder is not a working platform. It is just a tool to reach to the higher area where you couldn't reach it by standing on the ground. So
True.
many, just like you said, you know. And then we do have chemicals at home.
Yan pa.
At work, they have to, according to occupational. And by the way, workplace safety is a law. It's a federal, and every state has a state program. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and they call it the Occupational Safety and Health Act, was enacted in 1970. It was during the time of Nixon.
Okay.
And this was because of the outcry of workers that are just really, dying at work, because no matter how much you tell them, don't do this, don't do that, they would still take shortcuts. They would use the tools that's not for that particular job, and so accidents happen. Accidents are not planned.
Of course.
But it happens because you planned
It's
not
just
to be
split-second
not
event,
to follow.
right?
So there's, if you remember, I don't know if you've seen a poster like, and I've had that in my office before. It's a poster showing workers standing on a iron bar. And this was in Manhattan, New York.
Oh, yes,
City.
I've seen that.
It's been very popular.
Oh my God, that
During
gives
that time,
me ew.
there was an OSHA. So
okay.
who who cares? So every day they were saying that you will just see people like falling.
Oh, yes.
So there is, on the other side of the building, there was this long line of workers applying for a job. Because then one falls, then someone comes in.
Oh, darn.
Yes, it's sad.
Okay.
It is sad, but things have to, and that's how all this, skyscrapers at Manhattan.
yes.
That one.
Yes, we're
That's
about to
exactly
show
what
that.
I'm talking about.
I know, right? That's just so creepy for me.
And some of them, there are even variations of that picture. Some of them were eating.
Yes.
And this is not a picture that was
It's not Photoshopped.
Photoshop, or there wasn't Photoshop at that time.
No.
There wasn't. But it was for real.
Right.
And, there was a big fire in one of the big factories in New York City, too.
Okay.
And that led to the outcry of the people that something needs to be done. Yes, there were organizations before who was, advocating safety. But there wasn't a law in place.
Okay, so now we have a law.
Now we have a law. It's the Occupational Safety and Health Act, which generally it only has one rule, one general statement that says, and it's the General Duty Clause.
Okay.
It's called the General Duty Clause, which states that every employer has the responsibility to provide a safe and healthful working condition for every employee. And employees in turn will have to follow all those rules and regulations. But that's actually cut in the part of, how the law is. Because as we know, we tell the people, okay, you're not supposed to go into that room without your hard hats. But you go in there, everyone's just wearing a ball cap.
Okay.
So these rules were into place, and then that was 1970, and then the federal government, the U.S. Department of Labor, stated that, there's several states. If you want to adopt the federal OSHA guidelines, you're free to do so. But if you want to come up with your own state program, it has to be equally effective or more stringent than the federal one that has been in place.
Right.
Nevada is one of the first states where the state program was approved.
Okay.
California, as far as I know, as we speak, hasn't been approved with their state program. So we and then Nevada right now is the first one that mandated the OSHA certification in the construction industry.
Oh, we have a lot of that here.
10-hour OSHA.
Yeah.
You have to go through the 10-hour OSHA class. If you're a regular worker, you have to go through a 30-hour OSHA class if you are a supervisor or a foreman or whatever.
Right.
And they also have included, the most recent that they've included was the entertainment industry.
Oh, dapat lang, no?
Yeah.
Because this is the capital, the entertainment capital of the world, right?
The only caveat to that is there was so much need for all this. Imagine all the workers we have in Las Vegas alone. Let's not even consider the state of Nevada, but
Just Las
let's just
Vegas.
look at, let's just look at Las Vegas alone. There was really a big demand for it.
Right.
And there were not enough instructors to do it.
Yes, I'm even thinking of like the circus, the shows.
Yes,
in
the acrobats,
Yeah,
all
the
those.
acrobats, and I'm so scared for
Even
them.
you'd be surprised. Even musicians, they have to
Yeah.
go through the class.
Yes, and I think hotels and casinos, they have the clause for insurance and safety and all that. Right?
Yes. Because what comes with safety also in workplaces is the workers' compensation insurance.
Ayun.
Because every worker has the right to medical attention, medical needs when they get hurt on the job. It's a no fault, whether it was deliberately done by the employee to fall from a ladder or not. The employer has the responsibility to take care of that person.
Okay.
Take them to the hospital, take care of them when they are not working because of work-related injury,
Right.
and all those things. And of course, when we don't want that to happen, but when death occurs at work, it is something else. But different workers' comp insurances, depending on what the employer buys, will have different, how much are you getting? All our 5 fingers, each one has a corresponding amount.
I know,
whichever
right?
is the most important,
What's
You
the
lose
most
it's
important finger?
It's
The
a thumb. So it's the most expensive. So if you lose your thumb at work, you get paid more than if the others were.
Is it the same price for all companies, or
It is the same. That's the because the workers' compensation insurance company, they follow another set of rules on their
Okay.
part, on their
All right.
industry. So that's how it is. But like a company would pay you, an insurance company would pay you like about $250,000 if you die at work. Okay, they'll pay for your funeral expenses, a certain amount of that. They'll pay, of course, for the medical expenses.
is everyone aware of this?
I don't think so. But then the question is, okay, let's say hypothetically, a family of 4, let's say the dad dies at work. Okay, so what does he get? Let's say $250,000, which most of the time is the max,
It's the max.
depending on the number of children.
Okay.
Okay, and then some insurance companies will compute for 75% of whatever the employer was earning when he got hurt. My question to you is, whether you're given $250,000 or $1 million or whatever it is, who's gonna spend that money?
Yeah, who's gonna
You're
spend
dead.
it? I know, right?
But you know who's gonna spend that money?
Who will?
The next husband or the next wife. So I always tell
Hold on. The next
Yeah,
the
'cause
next spouse?
the next spouse.
Why?
Because the worker's married, now he's widow, he finds another wife, or she finds another husband. Life is easy because she already has. I always
okay,
tell,
okay, get
and
what
they
you mean.
all laugh when I start saying that,
I get
because
what
I
you
said,
mean.
don't make it easy for your wife's next husband
to spend the money
to spend the
to
money.
earn money through your death.
Through your
that's not
death,
good.
which is in reality that's real talk. That's
Okay. Yeah.
Of course, we don't want that, but things like that are happening just because somebody is not careful.
Is it dependent on, say, a company has only like 5 employees or 4? Do the employees receive the same
They have
merits,
yes,
benefits?
It is a law that any company that employs even just one employee has to have a workers' compensation insurance.
Right.
Well, we know that some people don't even, and that includes the owner. If you're just the owner and you're the
All right.
only worker, then you don't need it because you own it. You know, naturally you pay for yourself or whatever. But if you have an employee, you have to do that. And there's a lot of things. It's sad because just like, you know, they come up with the deaths of workers on a yearly basis. And I just want to share with you some statistics that was brought out in the recent year. In 2020, there was about...
This was before the pandemic or in the midst
This was in the midst.
Okay.
And keep in mind, you know, a lot of companies were shut on that. The cost of occupational injuries and illnesses in the United States is staggering, estimated at $176 billion.
Oh my goodness.
To $352 billion, according to the recent studies made by the insurance companies. They're the ones who know because they're the ones that are paying.
Yes.
You know?
True.
Yeah. And the high toll of job injuries, 340 workers died each day from hazardous working conditions.
In the entire U.S.?
In the entire U.S.
Okay.
There were 340 workers dying each day.
Oh.
Just
but this
being
is in
exposed.
2020, correct?
Yes, this is in 2020. There were 4,764 workers killed on the job overall in the U.S. The 340 were the ones who died from exposure to hazardous chemicals.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about those chemicals.
Yeah.
All right.
At work, OSHA requires that every company list down all the hazardous chemicals, or not even just hazardous, just all chemicals that you have. Label them. Even just, I'll take this place as an example.
Okay.
If you do have a Clorox or bleach, get online and get a safety data sheet of that chemical.
Yes, I was pretty ignorant, Therese, when I first came here because, you know, back where I came from, I did not use chemicals. I just used, you know, vinegar to clean surfaces. But when I got here, there's a lot of spray stuff. And it was my husband who told me, if you use this one, don't mix it with this one because you don't know this and all that. And so I had to revisit my chemistry class. And I'm not really very good at that. So talk to us a little bit about the common chemicals that
common chemicals we have at home.
That are dangerous. Yeah.
Bleach. The safest is the green.
The what?
The green. The green liquid, the green cleaner.
Okay.
That's the safest.
Okay.
You know?
All right. I don't know about that.
Even then, you still have to get a safety data sheet for that.
Okay.
Because, you know, all these things can be inhaled, can be ingested.
Right.
Especially when we have children at home.
And pets.
Pets, yes. What else? Now we do have since COVID, a lot of companies came up with all different things. When basically all you need is Clorox.
Is that so?
The 1:10 ratio.
Okay.
That's it. Do not even put 2 because some of us feel that, okay, the more I put, you know, Clorox into this, the more it's gonna. No, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
Matter of fact, even in clothes, if you put more, it's gonna burn your clothes.
Oh, true.
The white ones turn yellow because of over bleaching.
Okay.
So it's all those simple things. And at work, of course, OSHA is very clear in the definition of the safety data sheets that you have to have it, and it comes in different sections. But we're not chemists. There is a part in the safety data sheet that is just intended for fire department, for fire, you know, when they come, there is a fire, they will look for your MSDS. It used to be called Material Safety Data Sheets, MSDS. They changed that to Safety Data Sheet just because we now have the International Hazard Communication Program.
Oh, that's a progress.
Meaning to say, what we have is what you will find in Japan, in France. It's worldwide. It's an effort by the World Health Organization.
Oh, that's good.
So that, you know, when you go to a certain place, bleach might be different with them in terms of composition and stuff. This is how we do it. So they have to make that a universal hazard communication.
Yes,
It's very important.
The other thing there, now that you're talking about international standards, so when I got to Europe, and I could not understand what this, under the sink, all those bottles there.
Yes.
And I think it's important if I had known the symbols,
Yes,
and all
the pictographs.
And I don't even know if the chemical name, the name of the names of the ingredients are the same there as in the English speaking world. So I had to look online for pictures, and so that's not very clear for me.
Yeah, actually now with that change, companies are now required to have all the safety data sheets in different languages.
Okay, that's good.
So
Good to know.
We'll call you'll call the company, and then if you get online, you'll simply see safety data sheets of what, and it has to be very specific.
Oh, we have a question from our listener, Therese.
Okay.
The question is, how about swimming pool safety, like pool chemicals and chlorine?
Yes.
Any tips?
Yes. You have to make sure that the person that's cleaning your pool, is very familiar or is an expert when it comes to whatever. Because some people will just buy, I'm gonna buy the chemical, and they'll call somebody to clean.
Okay.
They have to make sure that they have the safety data sheet for that.
All
and
right.
it's available. You go to Costco, you go to Sam's Club. Matter of fact, a lot of stores will say, for any safety data sheets, please request or go to the executive office or whatever, because they have to have it. If they don't have it, they are going to be shut down, and they are going to be fined big time.
Are there different kinds of chemicals for cleaning the pool? Or there's just, the question here is specific to chlorine?
Yeah, they have to.
There are different kinds? I see.
Because there are different, keep in mind, there are different brands, right? Every brand, let's say I bought, what are the brands? Clorox.
Oh, I don't know.
Let's say brand X,
Okay.
Brand X will sell the same bleach that brand Y is selling, but they may have different safety data sheet.
Okay.
So you cannot say, I also have a safety data sheet for this, and it's the same as the X, but then your safety data sheet says it's for the X company.
Okay.
Has to be specific.
Well, this is
You
really educating the masses. This is really about education, information.
And unfortunately, sometimes, I go to the stores and I would hear questions. Sometimes I'll really jump in and I'll say, excuse me, do you need help on that? I know something. I don't say I'm an expert or whatever. I will just tell them I'm a safety and health professional, and if you do have questions about this and that, because every chemical is covered by the OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. That's why the hazard communication program is a big thing. And the biggest thing that they want employees to know is the part where it talks about first aid. What are you going to do?
That too.
In case of ingestion, what do you do?
Yeah.
Of course, it will always say if symptoms persist,
call the doctor,
911,
911,
or that will be on the top thing, But if you have enough knowledge about that, all you have to do is, like on a monthly basis, just talk about hazard communication, put out all the chemicals that you have at work, and then explain to them, this you cannot mix with this.
That's important.
This will cause this. And look at how we have evolved into the awareness of lead.
Oh, yes, true.
We didn't have...
And asbestos. And what else?
Asbestos and all those, beryllium, stainless steel.
Oh, yes.
These were very common before. But then even gasoline.
Yes, and because of the, we learn more every day, so there's the unfolding of knowledge.
how do they come up with this? How does the government find out that, oh, wait a while, we have this, okay? Every year, there is a list that the governor of every state publishes as to what chemicals are considered carcinogen, all those things may cause birth defects.
Yes.
And these are all based on studies.
Right.
These are all based on reports from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics,
True.
which is required to come up with those data every year. And where do they get it from? From employers. Okay, employers will report, and they're required to do that too on an annual basis, come up with the OSHA logs, meaning to say the report of injuries and illnesses that happened for the past year.
Yes.
And they are required by law to post it starting the 1st of February up to the end of April.
I'm really very appreciative of all this information that you're giving, Teresa. And then, but we need to take a break.
Yes.
And then I have a question for you after this. So we'll take a break. We'll come back, and I'd like to ask also a little bit about, for children, for the elderly. Okay. And if I forget, just remind me. Okay, listeners, if I forget, remind me. Okay, so please stay. Hey, we're back. You can watch us on Facebook and YouTube and Spotify and everywhere else in the whole wide world. On the Dot is a joint project of PHLV and the University of the Philippines Alumni Association of Nevada. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and our guest is a Yupaan. That's how we call it. She's a member of Yupaan. Contents of this show do not belong to PHLV or Yupaan, but of hosts and guests. And sponsors and advertisers are welcome. You are most welcome to advertise, because the money you give will support scholars, academic projects, relief operations, and community events. And I also, if I remember, I'm going to ask you about relief operations, Therese, or maybe for the next show. All UP graduates currently residing in Nevada are welcome to join UPA. And call Mia, our president. Her number is 702-281-9063, but not right now because she's out of the country. So we're back here and we're talking about safety, health and safety. And
even if you're out of the country, Mia.
just don't call her just yet, because you're gonna pay, I don't know, overseas rate. No. So a few things. We have a question from our listener or watcher or viewer, and you also want to talk about safety, the definition of safety. So take it away, Therese.
Okay.
Maybe you want to read this question first.
Safety is a very abused word. Like I tell you, safety. You ask the person, so what do you mean by safety?
Safety is, for me, right off the top of my head, is just the absence of danger.
Okay.
Okay. I
Very,
don't know.
very, very close. People will
Very
just
close.
say, safety. I'm not getting hurt. I'm not. So yeah. So if you're not getting hurt, why are you not getting hurt? Because of safety. So you go around circles, right?
Okay.
Safety to us, occupational safety and health professionals, is the absence of a risk.
Of a risk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it doesn't only apply to, again, workplaces, at homes. Where do most accidents happen?
At home, right?
At home, yeah. You burn your finger, you cut your fingers, all those things, right?
Right.
But at home, we don't have a supervisor to say that needs to be recorded.
Even the mother
Even
who
the
acts
mother.
like a supervisor
Yes.
does not know.
Yes,
For
uh-huh.
sure.
Or a simple communication, which is very important, and it's one of the elements of having a safety practice in place, is communication. You turned on the light, and the bulb was busted.
Okay.
So the husband goes up and just starts
To sing it off,
manipulating
yeah?
it, and it's on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so okay, technically at work it's called the lockout tag out system.
Lock
it out, tag it out. Say
Okay.
something there.
All
This
right.
is not working.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
And a lot of things, simple things like for children. At an early age, we need to start, aside from, of course, locking the cabinet, having them child-proofed, we really need to start educating them. No, we don't just say, no, don't touch it.
You
We
have
need
to
to start
explain why,
educating them
yes.
that, okay, this is used for cleaning the toilet. This is not for drinking. This doesn't taste like
Right.
milk
Right.
or juice.
Yes.
Okay, what are the other things that we teach them aside from that? What's the number one thing we teach our kids? Do not talk to strangers.
Okay.
Isn't that one of the first things, right? And then, of course, here in the U.S., it's always 911. Something
Yes.
happens, 911.
Okay. We have to teach our children how
Yeah.
to
So
recognize
it is,
that number.
Yeah, because simple things like you did not close the drawer.
Right.
It's a
Yes.
hazard.
Yes.
Do we do that at home? A lot. Okay. Having a fire extinguisher at home is very, very important.
Yeah, you told me that
Yeah,
earlier.
and so everybody will say, oh, yeah, I do have a fire extinguisher.
But do you know how to use it?
Do you know how to use it?
I don't. I was taught, but I never actually.
You were
was
taught.
taught, yes.
Yeah. So the way to do it is you have that gadget at home. Everybody needs to learn how to use it.
Right.
Do an exercise. Pull the
Yeah.
pin,
And-
aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the nozzle, and then sweep side to side. So it's simple. Pass. Pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire.
And
It's very
sweep.
important, not just aim at the fire,
At
but
the base.
aim at the base of the fire. Squeeze the nozzle, and then sweep side to side.
Pass.
Now-
Okay. PASS.
The other thing about fire extinguisher is people have a common notion that, oh, I do have a fire extinguisher. I don't have a problem with that. Fire extinguishers, keep in mind, are only good at the inception of fire, when it's just starting. We are not firemen,
Okay.
so we are not to fight the fire.
All right.
So
All
what
right,
is the purpose
beginning,
of the
right?
fire extinguisher? The fire extinguisher is not really, it extinguishes the fire at the inception, the beginning of the fire.
the beginning.
But when the fire is already like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, it's
what is the purpose then of the fire extinguisher? The purpose of the fire extinguisher, that's why you go like this, the fire is here, you go like that, and you walk backwards. Because the fire extinguisher will create a barrier between you and the fire as you exit the building. But it's not to extinguish the fire. There's
Well,
no
not
way
anymore.
a big fire
Yeah.
like that could be extinguished
It
by
reminds me of Maui,
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
That's
yeah. But
right.
like I said,
It's tragedy.
so try
Right.
to make sure that everybody knows how to use the fire extinguisher.
Right.
Does everybody at home know how to turn off the gas?
Yes.
It's another thing.
That part,
when there's a
yeah.
leakage, when things are going on around the area. So is everyone aware? Is everyone aware of where the circuit breaker is? Those are
Right.
basic, very basic things.
Hey,
that-
about the house, that question by a listener. Would you like to read that? House buying.
house
You know.
buying.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
where is it? That one.
Okay.
Okay.
Someone told me, okay, this is a question from
From
Mr.
Jerry.
Jerry. Someone told me that before buying any house,
Any house.
we have to test it with radon? Question mark. Is that required? Question mark. Or what are the benefits of radon testing? Okay. Testing the house is one of the basic requirements for when you know that it's not new. Okay, if you're buying an old house, you want to test for asbestos, you want to test for
okay.
lead, you want to test for molds. Now, when it comes to radon, and it also depends on what is the area. Okay, if you're buying from Chowchilla,
What's that?
Chowchilla, California is
Oh, okay. It's a where.
the foundation of Chowchilla is asbestos.
That's not
Okay.
good. Is that good?
No,
That's dangerous.
asbestos,
Yes.
the way it is, if you don't disturb asbestos, is not harmful.
Okay.
But the moment you start disturbing it, that's when you inhale it. That's when it becomes airborne.
Carcinogenic?
And yes, and you do not, the problem with asbestos is you do not feel the effects of it until after 20 or 30 years.
Yes, I personally know someone who has
Yes.
had experience with that. Yeah.
Which is why, again, I go back, which is why OSHA requires that every employer keeps their safety and data sheets for 30 years or for as long, minimum, for as long as the company exists. Why is that so? There is a worker 40 years ago, left the job, and after a while, the doctor says, oh, you know what? You have this kind of
Oh,
illness.
true. And then they can go back.
So then
to
they
that.
can go back. Not to sue because maybe at that time there wasn't any rule about it.
Right.
But that will add up to the data of the government,
The
which they
information.
come up every year to add, or there are even elements or chemicals that are taken out of the list on a yearly basis. There are new elements added into it.
Okay. So,
So
that's very important.
there is a strong correlation as to why do we need to report.
True. It's for
So
to collect data,
Yes.
to collect and collate
uh-huh.
data.
Who would know
systems.
that we were very, very exposed to lead before?
Yes.
Who would know that, oops, no more lead.
No
you
more
know,
lead,
it causes
yeah.
mental retardation, it causes all those things. And how did we know that before?
Yeah, it's a
Well-
good thing that we're knowing these things right now. No, and here's linking this up. Finding a place to live. Our wait, who, what? Our trivia question for this week is: where do you want to retire? So, in relation to what our viewer asked, what do you need to find out before retiring in a home? So now that you told me about this place in California, what's the name again?
It's Chowchilla.
I'm not going to retire there.
Chowchilla. I hope the city of Chowchilla doesn't
Let's listen.
lambast me for it.
Let's
for saying
take
that,
a-
but it's true.
Yeah, a very short break. Let's find out where people want to retire. There's maybe 4 people answer this question.
Isabel,
Yes.
where do you want to retire?
Las Vegas.
What? Do you want to stay in your house? Okay.
Yes.
How about you, Shirley?
Cancun.
Nah. Where we are now?
Cancun?
Quiet? Why? We're in the Philippines. Ayun, where nakaradyo to?
The Philippines, Savannah. I just went my hometown.
What, Isabela?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you? Ay, sorry po.
Okay lang.
Yeah. RDL?
I want to retire in Vietnam
Why?
because there's a lot of Vietnamese there.
How about you?
I want to retire in the Philippines
Maingay.
because my true love is there.
True love. Right. One more. One more. Where do you want to retire?
You want to do your nails? Where do you want to retire, Huy? Next. Dalian mo!
I want to retire to in the Philippines and here in Las Vegas. My grandkids are here in Las Vegas, and Philippines is my hometown. Very good.
Yay. Thank you for that. Okay, where do you want to retire? So people are saying that, from this video that they want to retire. Half of them want to retire in the Philippines, and then the other half want to retire here in Las Vegas. Where do you want to retire, Therese?
I haven't actually thought about that.
Okay.
Because
I actually haven't thought of
it's
retirement.
neither here nor there.
Okay.
Maybe in the outer space if that becomes popular
That's
and
good.
available
And we have to
already.
check the radiation out there.
Radiation, yeah.
So
yeah, but
here, how about here in Vegas, like retirees? Is this a safe place for them?
this is, well, like you said, it depends on what is your concept of safety.
Right.
Safety in, are you the person who is out all the time, driving out all the time? The second place where most accidents happen to is what? The road.
The road.
The way when you get on the road.
Right. The road.
And accidents, road rage, and all those things. Like we always say, if it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go wherever you are.
Yeah. So people retire here. Like we have a lot of retirees in Vegas because of, taxes and all that.
Because I think in
This is
Las
safe.
Vegas, since it's a 24-hour city, and most old people, they tend to like get up early or go to bed late, so they want a place to get entertained. Not just by trees, not just by looking at the ocean, but a place where they can play. I'm not even going to use the word gamble,
Oh, no.
but where they can play
Right.
and just have fun and have. And I think food here is very affordable compared to the other cities.
So if a retiree, like let's say this group of seniors, they come here and they want to live here, and if, God forbid, if they get into an accident, say inside the casino or and all that, does OSHA have provisions for such
Yes.
events?
Okay. In cases like that, it's a two phase situation. When an accident occurred and it's a worker, OSHA comes in. When an accident occurs and you are a visitor, there is definitely the court that you have to deal with. I'm not saying there wouldn't be a court when it's a worker injury, but when it comes to like visitors and things like that, you're going to be sued for sure.
The company?
Yeah, the company is
Yes.
going to be sued for sure, which is why they are required to have the liability insurance.
Okay.
And so what is the liability insurance? It's always like $1 million per incident, per occurrence, if that is worth it. And if it's beyond 1 million, insurance companies are going to pay for it. So you have to have, on top of that, an umbrella insurance to cover for what is more than your policy limit that won't come out of your pocket. Because otherwise, if the lawyer says, well, the injury had cost my client $10 million because of, all these things, then where do you get the $9 million from?
Right.
So
right.
it's it's always insurance.
Insurance.
And there's always insurance. You have your renter's insurance, and it's all about safety. Like you have your renter's insurance if you're renting. You have your insurance when you own a house. When somebody comes to your house and slips and trips and falls, in other words, gets hurt,
All right.
your insurance should cover that.
And even if your dog bites them?
Even if your dog bites them. And even if this is very funny. Your dog is just there, laying on the floor, maybe resting beside the doormat.
Okay.
Here comes a visitor, and the visitor tripped because of
Okay.
the dog. Now, whose fault is that?
I don't know. It's
Is that
her
the
fault.
dog's fault, your fault, or the one that got tripped?
Well, for me, because I'm the judge here, so I don't know. It's the safety of the. I don't know, darling. What's the answer?
Yeah, you have to.
I'm
You have to
responsible.
make sure. Yeah, you still be
I'm
responsible
responsible.
because it is your premises.
Okay.
Now it is different if somebody came attacking your dog in your premises and something happens to that person.
Ay nako,
Then that's a different
investigation.
story. It's really, it's all
Investigation.
about carrying the responsibility of one's irresponsibility. Yeah.
Okay.
So all those things. And then I would like to mention the other city that where there's a lot of asbestos is Coalinga.
What's that?
Coalinga.
Where's that?
It's a place where there's a lot of the
Asbestos.
industry there is cattle. So
Oh,
nobody
ganun pa.
really wants to.
Even that one, oh, the smell of
Yeah.
the
It is.
gas is coming from
the
fields.
fumes of
Yeah,
the body of
yeah.
the cattle. Yeah,
uh-uh.
that's why if you go to places like Fresno, Bakersfield, and all those places, there's too much fog. It's because of the
Okay.
heat that's generated by the cattle themselves
Ayun.
comes up to like a fog. You know, their
Right.
bodies have that kind of steam, and since it's too much over there,
And that's not safe for a human being to stay in.
it's not. But people kind of get used to it.
Right.
The noses are desensitized already.
Yeah.
Like for us, like we go, oh my God, your place stinks, And then
Yeah,
you go,
like
"Oh,
driving through and say, did somebody fart in
yeah,
here?
yeah. But no, it's just
Okay.
that. So when disasters happen, that's when you try to find out, to ask yourself, okay, like fire, flash flood, earthquake.
Yeah,
what do
we
you
have-
do?
Yeah, we have flash floods here. And your
Yeah.
book, would you like to show
Do you,
your
do
book?
you have? That's why I came up
Just
with it,
flash
because
it,
this is one
yes.
of the requirements of,
What does the
ocean.
title say?
It says Emergency Disaster Plan.
Okay, and
The
it's
other
written
book
by
I
you.
have, yeah,
Yes.
it's written by me. And the other book was Emergency Preparedness Plan.
Oh, this
Okay.
one again.
It's almost
this is
the same.
a emergency
Disaster plan.
Disaster plan.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
This one is, of course, I designed this for workplaces.
But so that's not available for like in the library or Amazon.
No. Because when I distribute this to companies that invite me to come over and explain everything to them.
In Las Vegas.
Anywhere, because I'm a federal instructor, so I could go anywhere.
Okay.
Okay, so but what I'm saying is this is not just applicable to companies. This is basically very applicable to homes.
Yeah. All right. That's good to
Then
know.
you ask yourself, okay, there is an active shooter. Let's
Ayan
say,
pa, nako.
what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
is everybody in the family aware of what to do when there's an active shooter?
Yeah, that's a good. The schools are just
The
they
schools,
started.
they do that. They do the
they
drills.
started
Yes.
teaching, yeah.
And to be honest with you, as a safety professional, I would advocate families doing their own drills.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
right.
start from home.
Like fire drills, flood.
uh-huh.
What kinds of disasters are there?
I have here active shooter, pandemic flu, extreme weather, earthquake, bomb threat, fire, hazardous materials, flood.
Okay.
Hazardous materials is when there is a spill in the area.
Right.
Where you'll see all this
Yes.
cops cordoning the area because you
Yes.
cannot get there, and this will tell you about what do you do.
What do you do? Is it illustrated? May pictures ba yan? Wala.
No, I have graphs here.
Okay.
I do the illustration in
when
the
you give
companies, like
workshops.
yeah, there's a role play.
So there's no way that the public can avail themselves of
They
that?
can call me and
What's your number? Let's have your number.
It is 702
702
827
702-827
6696.
6696. How much is that? Can I buy one from you now?
I'll give you one now.
Oh, that's so sweet. But
Well, actually,
honestly, it's. I think every family should have
yes.
that.
Other than being aware of what to do during a specific disaster, this tells you disaster recovery.
Okay.
So you don't stop or what do I do? The earthquake is done. What do I do?
What do you do next, right?
So for companies, you have to start off, especially for fire, the documents, all those, and everything is here.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
types of like
What to do,
anything
where
and
to
everything.
go, who to call.
Yeah. Of course, because I wrote this prior to COVID.
Yeah.
So this will have a general information on pandemic flu.
I
Just
know,
there.
right? You wrote it.
I wrote this
Did you have a
before.
foresight that such a thing would happen?
Actually, you know what? 7 years ago, I wrote a book on avian flu. And I do have a CD on that because that was the time when everybody was, oh my gosh, it was everywhere. Companies were requesting for training here and there because of the avian flu. And what exactly happened during COVID was the same scenario during the avian flu pandemic that we were all expecting, but didn't happen.
Yeah.
There were several isolated cases. So
I want to acknowledge you actually in public, Therese, because for those who, I don't think we even talked about this, but Therese was one of the very first. You were a first responder to us as an association because Therese got on a call with all of us. She gathered us and told us where to get masks. I think you even distributed masks.
I did. I distributed masks, sanitizers, gloves, anything and everything that I could.
Thank you for that, Therese.
Get a hold of. Thermometers, everything, because at that time it was very difficult to get them.
So if companies would like to invite you to talk to their employers, can they get a hold of you?
Yes.
So once again, let me say that number, 702-827-76696.
Yes.
Therese Heilman.
I do a free initial audit on the company. Which means I look at the programs, I read the programs, and I'll see if it's. Because you know what's funny is companies will have binders and binders. Oh, this is our safety program, and then you look at it. Okay, is everybody aware of this? Were the employees trained on this? They say yes.
Right.
But then you start looking at page by page. It's a landscaping company, and they talk about scaffolding.
Oh, that.
And I'm like, it's kind of, from there you can find out that, no, you didn't write this.
Right.
You copied it or you bought it canned.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've encountered a lot of those. Or you go to a company and you say, can I see a copy of your safety and health program? Because it's an audit. I want to see. Because that safety and health program that you yourself wrote should be strictly followed.
Okay.
It can contain, of course, those are based on standards, right? If you said something there that, because safety meetings are required, right, every 10 days. If you started stating in your policy that we conduct meetings every 3 days or 7 days, so that's going above and beyond the requirement. And then they'll ask, okay, can I see a documentation that you're doing it every 7 days or 3 days, and you're not even doing it? You will be cited for your very own program that you wrote.
You will be cited.
Yes, because you were the one who wrote it, not us. Or any other thing. That's why I always tell employers, do not write anything in your safety and health program that you cannot do.
Okay.
And you do not even know. A safety and health program does not need to be like binders. A lot of companies sell that. They'll tell you, and it's a template.
Is it like a generic kind of thing?
It's a generic kind of thing. So, and people are like, okay, and the binder comes and it sits there on the desk.
It looks pretty. It looks important.
Yes. Yeah, and the company has been there for like 5 years. Oh, can I see your safety and health program? safety and health policy, your program, your they call it binder.
Yeah.
Oh, the binder. I said, and you'll see that it's mint.
Okay.
Nobody has touched it.
Okay.
Nobody has
Untouched by
read.
human hands.
It's
right.
just,
Right. Okay.
paper compliance, but
Okay,
and it's sad, and that's how accidents happen.
True. So, Therese, you were right earlier when you said that we could talk about this for 24 hours.
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
like an hour has passed, and we're not even done with, I'm not even complete with my questions for you, but, but another program is coming up.
Yes,
So
yes.
what would be your closing, your biggest, if you have an elevator speech for people on safety at work, what would it be? This will be your closing. We don't have a quote because Mia is not here. So let's have you as a source of our quote. Yeah.
Okay, I'd say, and I say this too, at all the ends of when I do classes, always remember that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
On safety.
Right.
Always. So you always have to make a plan.
Oh, okay.
Like, as we say, you pick up a hammer, there is a responsibility that comes with picking up the hammer.
True.
So it's all,
Thank you for that.
and safety is life.
Yes. Maybe some other time we can talk about the grab bag, the bag to go, and like responding flood and flash floods and thunderstorms and all that. So, all right. So it's been a very power-packed
Thank
hour
you.
with you, Therese, and I want
I
to
hope
thank
I
you
was
so
able
much.
to impart,
Oh,
a little
yes,
bit of,
I learned a lot.
basic things,
my
at least the basic things.
My biggest takeaway is if you have a fire extinguisher, learn how to use it. That's my biggest takeaway. But before we go, I just would like to announce that there's an RV Lifestyle Expo. This will be on September 28th to 30th, somewhere here. Expo at World Market Center, Las Vegas. So RV, yeah, maybe that's even another worthy topic to explore, living life in an RV. And so that ends our show on the dot. Catch us again next week at same time, same channel. Therese, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Heilman
too
from
for having
OSHA.
me here.
See you
It's a
again next
pleasure.
time. Mia, we miss you. See you next week.